welcome to the STC Ultimate Ascension 2025. I'm here, Nugglei, commentating Skele versus NHL. We got a good match going on today. So, yeah, losers round one. So the winner of this match will advance. However, the loser will be eliminated from the entire tournament. So a lot on the line in this match. Yeah, Skele, I would say, is definitely favored in this match. However, NHL, always a solid player in tournaments, just in terms of consistency. However, he really does need to perform exceptionally well to beat a player like Skele, you know. LF number 2, one of the best skip players, and one of the best skipless players, probably the most versatile player in Speed Race. So, definitely will be a tough task. However, it is definitely possible. So, we'll see how that goes. Skele does have either a frame off EGT on Legacy or maybe 2 frames. So I'm not sure what NHL's PB is, but it shouldn't be too close to that. However, a map like Legacy, in terms of movement maps, definitely chokes can happen for sure. Sorry about that. Oh, NHL already falling in practice. You know, I honestly kind of think that, you know... Oh! See? There's where the mistakes can happen. I just think, you know... Alright. I guess Skele won't be finishing out that second practice. I mean, showing a little bit of inconsistency there. Maybe giving NHL a little bit of a sense of hope. He's going to need Skele to continue to make those mistakes throughout the match. However, they did agree to play skips, so I actually think that favors NHL a little bit. Because I think if they play pure skipless, I don't really think NHL has a chance. However, the volatility of skips will keep NHL in the match. Round 1 here for Legacy, where we'll play skipless, obviously. NHL just hoping to play consistent and maybe can cash in on Skele making a couple mistakes. Ooh, I think he slope synced a little bit there, maybe. NHL's already going to be multiple tenths behind. Yeah, 31-1, 31-3. 31-1 for Skele, obviously a solid time, but not even the best he's capable of, so NHL is already in a pretty big of a losing situation here, sorry. Round 2 here, I mean, for NHL, obviously continue to play consistent, but also 31 threes in terms of times aren't going to cut it. I mean, Skele can make pretty massive mistakes and still get a 31-3, so that won't be good enough in this high, this high stakes a match like this. NHL maybe even a slightly better jump there. I don't think he's too far behind Skele, but this slope, yeah, he sinks again. He's still gonna be behind Skele. The finish from Skele here would be huge, and I'll probably already seal the map away. 31-2 IGT though. Definitely beatable from NHL and Skele himself. NHL 31-3 yet again. Staying consistent, although definitely not the kind of times you want to be getting when you're, facing Lunar Fate number 2. Because I know NHL is capable of much faster than a 31-3. Just he continues to make mistakes on parts like the slope. Round 3 here. I just think when you look at the lines themselves, NHL isn't even that far behind. But yeah, like he might be ahead of Skele here. But just this slope is really inconsistent and wide for him. Oh, and he sinks and misses. He's going to be counting a 31-3. Skele can seal it away with a nice run here. 31-1 IGT. Will likely do it. Unless, you know, NHL can get some monster runs in the next 2. Yeah, I mean, Skele just staying so consistent after, you know, making a couple mistakes in practice too. So, that's good to see for him. Round 4 here. Ooh, NHL slipping. Just trying to push his lines a little bit too tight. He falters in the beginning. If I had to guess, Skele probably won Legacy already. Hoping to cash in maybe another 31-1 IGT. Just so consistent. Oh! A little bit of a bonk there. This won't be ideal for Skele in terms of improving his average, but as I said, probably already in the books for NHL. Or Skele, sorry about that. That was silly. NHL still has a 40-second time counting, so if he wants a decent average here, he needs to perform. Obviously, I don't think anyone really predicted NHL to win Legacy heading into the match. However, in terms of mentality, losing the first map always sucks. However, he can hopefully bounce back in the next couple. However, we are going into Night Terrors where Skele have the advantage of doing edge hits where I'm not sure NHL is able to. NHL might win round 5 here on in general. Wow, 31-2 IGT tie. NHL locks in a solid average. Not too much to be disappointed, however, just not good enough to be someone like Skele. What? Could have sworn I did that correctly. I don't know how that happened. Swear map 1. Oh my god. Wired. No. RC AFK. No. I swear map 1 always gets me. Never been the strongest map controller. There we go. Alright. Night Terror Skele, I believe, is going to be going for the original edge hit skip. You know, just was broken, the world record using that skip just a couple weeks ago. Ooh. NHL, being on mobile, does not have the opportunity to do the skip, and will choose to just stay consistent while playing skipless. Maybe a strong skipless player, though. I mean, the 19-0 IGT is definitely solid. Again, Skele, he's going to be banking on Skele's consistency with the skip. Oh, dear lord. I'm not sure if these are intentional mistakes or not. I mean, we did see a couple of those in Legacy practice, so I wouldn't take it too deep. But, oh wow. Skele showing a little bit of inconsistency. He definitely can be beaten if NHL gets, you know, lucky enough. However, all it takes is one made skip, then just playing the rest of the round skipless, really. He doesn't need to hit, you know, 3 for 3. Honestly, a little bit unfortunate that NHL is just going to be unable to do the skip. I think he's going to try. I think he can do it, but Yeah, I mean, a run like that is all Skele needs to even take the map, so. Yeah, NHL. Failing pretty miserably at that skip. Skele isn't too consistent either, though. I just think the skip is easy enough to where I don't really see Skele failing it, 5 times in a row. Or I guess 3 times, I don't know. All I'm saying is that he has quite a bit of time to make the skip. Then, of course, being such a strong skipples player will probably beat NHL in skipples regardless, so. If I were NHL, I wouldn't be going for the skip. I just choose to, stay consistent on skipless and hope. Obviously not the ideal strategy, but you got to do what you got to do when you're on mobile. Round 1 here. I mean, NHL, clearly a strong skipples player, so. Or did show a little bit of skipples inconsistency on practice too. Skele hits the skip first try. Wow. That'll do it. 17-7. Very solid run there, honestly. Wow, I mean, quite a bit has to go wrong now here for Skele, but you never know what can happen. He might get a little greedy. I'm not sure what his strategies are here. I honestly kind of hope that he keeps going for skip. He is. Wow. Okay. Obviously, even if he fails the next 2 on skip, I'm not super worried for him. I mean, skipless on this map is just so consistent. I mean, you can see NHL's finishing basically every run here. Skele, though. I think he's going to offer skipless. I mean, I don't think he's a low IQ tournament player, so. But, yeah, missing it so much. I just don't see him continuing to go for skip after this. However, maybe he chooses the risky route, knowing that, he can always safety skipless because he's just that strong of a player. Round 3 here. So the best IQ play here is to go for skipless. However, I do want him to go for skip, just for the fanfare. He is. Oh, he hits it. Wow. Seems whenever Skele, under pressure, he'll always hit the skip, always perform for an 18-0. Yeah, maybe he chooses to play skip for the rest of it. Just, lock in a pure skip average. Definitely will break the STC world record, which very impressive. Oh, I think he's playing skipless now. Skele hasn't locked in an average yet, so anything can still happen here. But with a player like Skele, he's not gonna mess up skipless. Yeah. Oh, really wide ending for him, a 19-2. I'm not sure what that was about, but kind of showing that in terms of movement, NHL still has a chance here in terms of actual raw movement skill. I mean, I don't know what that mistake was about there. See if he can correct it a little bit in round 5. Oh, where is it? He will be going for skip. Wow, and he makes it 3-4-3 for a pure skip average of 17. Wow, 17-6. Really strong time there for the skip, to be honest. World record with the route is 17-4. And, expecting some end lag there. Could be a 17-5 touch, which is actually really impressive for a tournament. So, congrats to Skele on the map win there. And, you know, now he just needs one more map to win the match. And he's heading onto a map where he is ranked 2nd in the world, Ravine. Skele has a 9.0. I don't know what NHL's PB is. Oh, he's practicing skipless. Never a good sign when you're practicing skipless, but Skele's showing a little bit of inconsistency again with the skip. Maybe he didn't practice this as much as he knows he's such a strong skip player on this map. But the skip is one of the most consistent in the game. For a player like Skele, it's really no issue to hit it. However, I would wish to see NHL also go over the skip. However, I'm just unsure if he even knows the route. I'm not sure why he agreed to do full skip with Skele if he's just going to end up playing skipless the whole match. To be completely honest, I don't really understand that. We'll see in practice too if Skele can improve. Oh, that's a flick. Yeah, we'll have to watch out for those in rounds. That'd be an instant DQ there. Wow. Skele kind of really showing quite a bit of inconsistency. This is unlike him, but just as I say that, oh, Skele proves why he is, LF2 and 2nd in the world on Ravine. He is also practicing skipless just for, safety. He'll probably be playing it like he played Night Terrors, which I think was a good strategy, all in all. Oh, he bought 6 lives. Oh. See, so much clearance on that skip. Oh. I don't think that will. Skele showing probably about 50% consistency with the skip. Definitely not bad. However, the pressure of the tournament, one map away from eliminating one of the strongest players in the field. Maybe his consistency will be messed up. Round 1 here. Skele starts skipless, unlike Night Terrors. Maybe he didn't like his consistency in practice. Oh, NHL steams. Taking a death already. Skele probably 15-7. Yep. NHL learning the skip. Definitely didn't practice it. However, I think this skip is honestly pretty approachable if you know what you're doing. But doesn't seem like NHL does know what he's doing, to be honest. 15-7 for Skele there. Just a solid skipless safety. He's going to have so much more room for error than NHL setting into the last 4. Round 2 here. To wonder what Skele's going to be going for. Because I wasn't expecting him to go skipless last round. He chooses skip. And he misses. Maybe he has enough time to make it faster, but he is unable to hit it on his second. Oh, NHL doesn't remember where to go. He makes a mistake yet again. Oh, NHL, both of them DNF. Naturally. NHL starting out with 2 DNFs is just one mistake away from giving Skele the victory in just 3 maps. This is definitely not ideal for him. Whoa, was that it? Whoa. Whoa. That might be a DQ. We'll check that for flick after. Because I'm really unsure because that was kind of minuscule. However, these things kind of matter. If it wouldn't be accepted for a world record, we're not going to accept it for STC. I'll mark that as a successful run. Round 4 here. Skele, a death. If that third run gets DQ'd. Oh no! NHL just can't even figure out the skipless route. I don't know what's going on with him. He's taking jumps where he shouldn't. He's playing like it's his first time on the map! And a DNF for him! A double DNF. Wow, Skele might win this based on having a faster run than NHL, 15-7 to 15-8. NHL goes for the skip. Definitely not super versed at it, but if he can hit it here, he might win the map. Oh, wasn't meant to be. Oh, Skele! Oh my god! Skele! Oh my gosh, what a round. This was so winnable for either one of them. Obviously, Skele, if that run ends up being a DQ, he'll end up with the DNF average as well. Both of them only finishing one successful run. Wow, definitely not how I expected the map to go. Alright. Skele vouching that 9.3 was more than likely going to be a DQ. Both of them finishing DNF averages. Skele takes the win. If you notice DNF averages, if both competitors get DNF averages, the winners actually won by who was the best, the best round. So Skele's 15-7 will actually beat out NHL's 15-8. What the heck? Where is NHL going? Maybe NHL trolling a little bit here, kind of knows that he has very little chance on Taiga. Another map where Skele is just so strong. Heading into all these maps, I never really saw I never really saw Skele winning. I'm sorry, I never really saw NHL winning, any of these maps heading in, but this is just kind of complete domination by Skele. Yeah, I mean, oh my, wow. Just gaining so much time on NHL throughout the early stage of the map. However, not perfect. Definitely not a flawless player, however. When you're playing someone like NHL, who maybe isn't as versed on these maps. NHL says he's switching to R6. I don't really get that. Maybe just trolling a little bit. Maybe it's to help prevent wind. Maybe. Not quite sure what that's about. However, R6, R15, R throw. I don't really care. I do think Skele will win Taiga. I believe NHL also thinks that. Oh, just missing that jump there for NHL. Skele, already successful run. However, he doesn't get wind for 19-4. Skele proving that winless maybe is consistent. Oh. Skele definitely didn't. Yep. NHL, I mean, let's keep in mind, this is definitely not a rushed match at all. I mean, both competitors had plenty of time for practice, so I have little remorse for unpracticed maps. You know, the situation NHL is in is kind of his fault. I mean, you should be able to finish Ravine skipless 1 out of 1. And if not, then you need to practice it. But obviously, we're here now. Wow, another 19-4 from Skele saying super consistent. This might be a full-on sweep from Skele here. However, Ravine definitely could have been a tie if NHL's 15-8 ended up being a 15-7 touch. Yeah, one more solid run here from Skele will lock in the win. And he will advance to losers round 2. Oh. Gets a lot of wind. However, Skele, a 20.5 will likely be good enough. Skele already very more than likely taking the match, possibly with a sweep, maybe a 4.5 to 0.5. But yeah, huge congrats to him. Will be continuing the rest of the match, but Skele will go on to face the winner of Shane versus Marbles. Skele switching to R6. Oh, maybe NHL's the better R6 player. I mean, an R6 match between these two would be honestly really interesting. Oh yeah, Skele DNF. Maybe we need to bring back, you know, an R6 R15 tournament sometime this next year. This next STC season will be the best season of STC. The 2026 season. I hope you guys are just as excited as I am, man. We're gonna have, you know, cup tournaments. We're gonna have top player tournaments. We're gonna have even new player tournaments. So everyone's welcome to come join. Round 5 here. Oh, Skele in R6. Definitely not practiced up in R6. I mean, a lot of mistakes here for him. Oh, yeah. And this really shows that if NHL practiced, you know, Arthur Taiga more seriously, he definitely had a chance in terms of movement. Wow. That ended up being probably a little bit closer than he wanted to for Skele. I mean, if NHL played a little bit better, I mean, a 19.76 average on Taiga is very doable in R6. So, maybe not optimal for Skele to do there. But, doesn't matter regardless, he does win the map. Just pointing out that there definitely was an opportunity for NHL there. Skele opting for skip, and wow. Hits the 23-0 skip first try in practice. In terms of consistency on some of these easier skips, I don't think Skele can be beaten by anyone. A 23-1. A monster of a time in practice 1. Definitely the fastest I've seen in tournament. Practice 2 here. These skips weren't super mobile friendly today, but I mean, NHL definitely had a shot on things like Ravine, Legacy, honestly, Taiga, I mean, he had many opportunities to gain a point. Maybe did tie Ravine up. I would love to check touches on Ravine just to ensure that, sweep didn't happen here, but wouldn't matter too much in the long run regardless. NHL obviously had a good, Grand Resurgence and SML tournaments. However, didn't really perform as expected in, the World Championships, and hasn't really performed as expected in this Ultimate Ascension. I'm not saying that his tournament, LF needs to be lowered. I'm just saying maybe we need to revisit some of these agendas, that maybe NHL isn't a super strong tournament player, simply based on the fact that he practices and knows so few maps. However, he chooses to keep that way, so I don't know. Round 1 here. Both of them opting for skip. Skele misses. NHL. I think it's sub-skipless here. NHL. I mean, oh, is it sub-skipless? It is. 23-9. The skip, obviously pretty consistent in practice. However, in an actual tournament setting, as we saw in me versus Chris, I mean, it can be tricky to hit in actual rounds. So, no shame to Skele for the miss there. I mean, he seems to be getting it every time in practice, just like I was. However, I faltered in rounds. Seems like Skele maybe faltering in rounds. Probably not as bad as I am, but Skele really taking all the practice he can get here. Skele finished both his practice runs. So that was the first actual, true, slow practice that he's gotten. NHL, I mean, starting out with the advantage. Maybe this is where he gets his point. Obviously with this point and a tie on Ravine, this match might have been even more unfortunate, as that would mean NHL maybe had a chance to win. NHL slipping into the lobby early. We're going to let Skele finish this out, but I'm not quite sure what happened to him. Oh. Oh yeah, Skele just super inconsistent. I'm not quite sure what happened to NHL there. Skele, I mean, starting out with 2 failed runs. Definitely not ideal. If NHL can get a good run here, maybe even play skipless, then he could have a chance to take Crystal Mine. 45-0. Alright, now we're going to be doing NHL's round 2. Maybe a little bit of pressure on the line here. He knows Skele starting out with 2 mistakes. He has a very big opportunity to take Crystal Mine here. Wow, he's going to be finishing a clean run here. NHL could take Crystal Mine here. Just one more solid run. However, Skele... Oh, he misses the end zone. Oh, such a odd mistake to make. They both, oh my god. That kind of exemplifies NHL's play during this match. I mean, just so close, but never is able to quite finish it out here. Round 3 for both. I'm sure NHL may be in a little bit of pain, man. That sucks, but Skele's going to need to finish all 3 here, probably skipless. So NHL's still in Crystal Mine here. That was just an unfortunate opportunity. Loss. Oh, NHL with a death early. Skele probably sub skipless here. NHL's running out of time to get good runs. You know, any run from here on out will be counting for both. And at 23-9. We are probably tied on IGT heading into round 4. Yeah, draw. Round 4. Pretty important round. You know, if NHL doesn't want to get swept, he needs to get a solid run here, which we know he can do. Skele probably opting for a faster skip. Oh, NHL misses. He's going to be counting whatever time this ends up. Yeah, he's going to take the DNF average. NHL just not playing up to par. 23-9 yet again for Skele. Skele will win by virtue of either a 5-0, maybe a 4.5 to 0.5 win against NHL. Honestly, solid play from Skele. NHL didn't play super poor, however. A combination of being unable to do some skips and just being kind of oblivious on a couple maps, you know, which is completely his fault, led to the loss. So I don't really think NHL, I don't think this is a bad performance for him, but obviously leaving much to be desired for sure. And another 23-9 for Skele. Well, thank you all so much for watching. This was a solid match to get us back into the tournament. We're going to be doing a lot of matches from here on out. So I hope you guys are just as excited as I am. I'll let you guys know how Ravine Touches turns out. Hopefully we don't see a sweep, however. You know, not too hopeful there. Skele obviously was pretty dominant in this match. But I will see you guys next time. Thank you.